You're not retired full like DJ?
No, I'm not retiring. I'm too old to retire.
I want to go back and get 2 more fights. When I retired, I told you I was getting my hair done and get on steroids.
Alright, so CTE has been eating real good this week because not only do we have news of retired fighters suffering from CTE symptoms, but we also have current fighters on record-breaking losing streaks who refuse to retire, and just today we've got word of retired fighters stepping back into competition. Now, don't take this video or the things that I'm going to say in it the wrong way. There's really nothing funny about CTE and the issues that come along with it. All I'm saying is that it's crazy that all of these things are happening in the same week. First, let's start off with Donald Cowboy Cerrone announcing via his Instagram that he wants to come back to the UFC. Look, I'm gonna be optimistic here and say that Donald can definitely still look competitive upon his return, but I also worry that his return to MMA is going to look virtually identical to how he looked at the end of his previous run. Cowboy is only a couple months away from being 42 years old, which for a lightweight fighter is definitely on the older end of things, but the bigger issue here is just the amount of wear, tear, and damage that he's taken throughout his 55 pro MMA fights. Not to mention the damage that he's taken in his totally legit, not dubious at all, undefeated 29 fight kickboxing career that has literally zero certifiable evidence online besides his Wikipedia page. And before you guys start saying that he'll be in better physical condition after all the steroids, testosterone, and peptides he's openly admitted to taking over the last 2 years, that's probably true. But I really don't know if I would say that Cerrone's athleticism and physicality was ever his problem, and it certainly wasn't his biggest issue when he was on his 5-year, 7-fight winless streak before he retired. I'm just saying, unless TRT and steroids can magically fix Cerrone freezing up whenever he got punched in the face, which maybe they can, I really don't know, I worry that we're just going to see this guy take more unnecessary punishment that I feel like he really shouldn't be taking given how many beatings we've seen him take already. With all this being said, Cerrone has previously said that he's not concerned about CTE during the Sports Illustrated interview from 2017 because he just loves to fight so much, which, hey, if the guy still feels that fire to step into the octagon so badly, even at the age of 42, then all the more power to him. He's a grown man and he has every right to make his own decisions. And unlike most fighters who unretire after a short amount of time, I really don't think that he needs the money, seeing as he made $10 million throughout his UFC career, plus the guy grew up in a rich family. So if he is truly coming back for the love of the sport, then he's already in a way better position than 99% of fighters who come out of retirement after 2 years. However, in a little bit of a plot twist, it seems like Dana might not be so keen on seeing Cerrone back fighting in the UFC, as he had this to say at last night's press conference.
Cowboy Cerrone said he's coming out of retirement.
I hate it.
He wants 2 more fights.
I hate it.
Is that
Love him, hate that. He retired. It's just what for what? What's left to prove? You know, if you want to make money, let's figure something else out. And
important to note here, Dana doesn't really seem to commit to saying that Cowboy won't fight again, but he clearly doesn't seem to love the idea of it. Now, who knows if this is Dana being genuinely concerned for Cerrone's health and well-being, or if it's just him not wanting to pay him to fight, seeing as one Cowboy fight purse is the equivalent of like 15 Contender Series fighters fight purses, but however which way you want to slice it, Dana doesn't seem to be enthusiastic about seeing this guy fight in the UFC anymore, and frankly, I'm not either. Oh boy, now let's talk about Tony Ferguson. Because just this week, Mighty Mouse Johnson posted a video to his YouTube channel where he and Tony attended an MMA event ran by Anthony Pettis, and Ferguson seems adamant that he's not going to retire.
But you're gonna fight again?
Yeah, I only put half a fucking glove in there and I got it back, so that just tells me I got both pairs of gloves. So, yep, we're gonna probably take the rest of this season and figure some things out, and we're coming back hard either January or February. So stay tuned.
You're not retired full like DJ?
No, fuck no, I'm not retiring. I'm too old to retire. I'm 40 years old, I'm halfway to 80. I've been competing since I was 5 years old in multiple sports. I've wrestled in college, I've done all the other stuff, and you know what? It's not like I don't know anything else. I do, I'm still able to compete. When somebody can run a sprint faster than me, then maybe I'll start to consider it.
Jesus Christ, man, what's wrong with this guy? And I know that asking that question in regards to somebody like Tony Ferguson is redundant as fuck, seeing as there's a laundry list of things that make him abnormal, and that's fine, I love how weird he can be. But this guy, Tony, is the record holder for the longest losing streak in UFC history, and his ego plus his CTE-addled brain won't let him see that the time for him to retire was when he lost to Bobby Green. And let's not pretend like Tony hasn't been showing signs of CTE CTE for a while now, because going all the way back to 2011 after he won the Ultimate Fighter, he started displaying signs of extreme paranoia when he had a violent outburst while on a flight to Minnesota and had to be removed. Then, back in 2019, his wife Christina made several police reports cataloging what she described as him having a series of mental breakdowns. On February 5th of that year, Tony didn't sleep and, in the middle of the night, drove his family into the middle of the Palm Desert in California in order to survive a massive flood that he conjured up in his brain. Apparently, during this incident, he promised to seek mental help if there was no flood, which there wasn't, but he never ended up going to see a professional. 1 week later, on February 12th, Christina says that he had a full-on psychotic break or a panic attack because, again, in the middle of the night, he woke her up by way of screaming and swearing in her face, claiming that she was a witch who was impersonating his wife. A couple days later, on February 16th, Tony unplugged the refrigerator and most of the power in their house as he thought that there were cameras in the fridge and ceiling fans. He also tore the mirror out of their bathroom wall because he believed that there was something behind it, and then he took away his son's food as he believed it was poisoned. Not only that, he repeatedly threw holy water on Christina, which frightened her enough for her to leave the place and call the police at her local park. Then on February 19th, after agreeing to receive psychological help, Christina and her dad went to pick Tony up from the house, and when they arrived, their furniture and walls in the home were destroyed. Apparently, he convinced himself that there was a hidden doorway under their fireplace, so he destroyed that too. Christina called the police right then and there, and then she and her son moved into her parents' home for fear of their own safety. On March 5th, while on their way to seeking professional help again, Ferguson ran out of the car while the car was moving on the 405 freeway in LA, which is crazy, and then he disappeared. This saga culminated on March 7th when he forcefully entered the home of Christina's parents where she and her son were staying and took his son for 6 days. While he was leaving the home, things got a little bit physical between Tony and Christina and her mom. The crazy thing about this is that he left his cell phone and his car behind while he ran away with his son on foot, and it was raining out. As a result of all of these crazy incidents, Christina filed for a restraining order against Tony where she wrote that she was afraid that during one of these episodes, Tony would end up killing her, their son, or himself. This is a terrifying series of events, and the worst part about it is that according to Christina, there are many other examples of him displaying manic episodes that she didn't even mention. She also says that she has videos of him displaying paranoid behavior, which shows him crying, laughing, muttering, and yelling for no apparent rational reason. Then fast forward to May of 2023, he was arrested in Hollywood and was charged for driving under the influence after crashing his truck into 2 other cars, flipping his truck in the process. Okay, and I know that I might have spent a good amount of time going over Ferguson's depressing manic episodes, but just know that I feel like I need to adequately display just how insane he's already shown that he can be, but I also left out a lot of other incidents where he exhibited symptoms of CTE throughout the years. My whole point here is that this is not a man who should continue to absorb more brain trauma, and I'm really hoping that Dana does the right thing here and refuses to let him fight again. Because if you want me to be real, more than any other fighter that I can think of, I'm worried about Tony's future after fighting the most. Honestly, I'm scared that Tony will do something really bad during his retirement years, and him continuing to fight is only going to increase that likelihood. I'm really hoping that I'm wrong though. Last, I want to talk about Shane Carwin and some of the other fighters involved with the current UFC lawsuit. If you're a newer fan to the sport, you might not know of Shane, but he's honestly one of my favorite fighters of all time. He was one of the most prolific knockout artists of his era, and he was so close to being undisputed heavyweight champion during his fight against Brock Lesnar. But unfortunately, his life after fighting hasn't been very easy, as it appears that he is currently suffering from some pretty significant symptoms of CTE that's not only affected his ability to provide for his family, but simply survive and live day to day. According to his written declaration in the UFC's antitrust lawsuit, Carwin has revealed that he's suffered damage to his brain's prefrontal cortex and left hemisphere. Then he states that even in spite of his mechanical engineering degree and his years worth of experience as an engineer both prior and during his time as a fighter, the damage that he's received to his brain has left him unable to hold down a job. And as a result, he struggles to face everyday expenses such as providing food, shelter, and transportation for his family, and he mentions that he desperately needs this settlement money ASAP, which is fucking devastating. I don't know, man. It's pretty hard for me personally to know that a fighter that I loved to watch growing up is struggling so much, especially when it comes to Carwin, who by all accounts had a great stable job that he sacrificed in order to pursue his UFC career. And lo and behold, his sacrifice ended up being for nothing, because not only does he not have a stable financial situation, he has debilitating medical issues that he can't get treated for as well. With that being said, I've seen people online question Carwin's sincerity in his statements, seeing as he never was knocked out in the UFC, so how could he have such bad CTE? CTE, but you have to remember that it was a lot more common for guys to treat sparring like it was an actual fight back in the day, so I really get the feeling that Carwin was in one too many gym wars while he was training. And then you have guys like Vanderlei Silva, Fabricio Verdum, Spencer Fisher, and many more who've also made statements to the court saying that they're experiencing symptoms of CTE and how they're struggling with the effects it's had on their lives. And admittedly, all of them do use the same wording that was clearly written by a lawyer, but I don't think that that takes away from the seriousness of the situation. These are very real human beings who are suffering as a result of them pursuing this career, and I understand that they made the choice to become UFC fighters, and many of them made the choice to not protect their brains as well as they should have, but I don't think that that makes it any less of a bummer that they're living their lives suboptimally. Alright, and that's all that I wanted to talk about today. Like I said at the top of this video, this week has been a very busy one for CTE, and it's a bit wild that all of these updates have dropped basically at the same time. And in a weird, messed up way, I think it's almost poetic that we have Cerrone coming out of retirement, Ferguson refusing to retire, and all of these retired fighters revealing their conditions all within the same 7-day time frame. And of course, I could talk about Tito Ortiz, who's basically walking CTE at this point, or Nam Fan, which is an incredibly sad case, but I wanted to keep this video focused on what's happening at this moment because I really do think that the timing of it all is kind of crazy. And yeah, anyways, definitely let me know what you think about any of the topics that I talked about in this video. Do you think it's a good idea for Cowboy to come back to competition? Do you think that Tony needs to hang it up before he hurts himself or those around him? Also, what do you think of all these retired fighters like Shane Carwin revealing their day-to-day struggles with CTE? As always, if you liked the video, then like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.